Hi, I am Lilian, 98 years old. That still surprises me when I say it out loud. 98. I have seen horses turn into cars, radios turn into televisions, televisions turn into little glowing screens you carry in your pocket. I have buried friends, cousins, a husband I love deeply, and a version of myself that once thought retirement was the finish line. And I need to tell you something before I join the others. Retirement is not the danger. How you retire is. I see so many of you, good people, strong people, finally reaching that golden door. You worked 40, 50 years. You raised children. You paid mortgages. You survived bosses you couldn't stand and alarm clocks you hated. And then one morning, you wake up, and there's nowhere to go. You think that's freedom. Sometimes it's the beginning of your quiet unhappiness. I'm Lilian. I am 98 years old. I have lived through segregation, through change, through loss, through joy. I have watched 7 decades of retirees make the same painful mistakes. And I do not want that for you. The first mistake I see is this silent belief that retirement is the reward instead of the beginning. When I was 62, I retired from my job at the county office. I remember that last day. Cake in the break room, cheap paper plates, a card everyone signed. They told me to enjoy the good life. I went home that afternoon and sat at my kitchen table. It was quiet, too quiet. For 40 years, I had been needed at 8 a.m. sharp. People depended on me. Problems waited for me. My name meant something in that building. Now, nothing was waiting. I thought I had earned rest, but what I had lost was purpose. You see, work is not just a paycheck. It's identity. It's structure. It's proof you matter. When you stop working, if you don't replace that sense of purpose with something new, you start shrinking. I watched my neighbor Thomas retire from the post office. First month, he was glowing. Second month, he was bored. 6 months later, he barely left his recliner. 2 years later, he was gone. Not because retirement kills you, but because purposelessness does. If you retire from something, you must retire into something. A cause, a hobby, a church group, a garden, mentoring, volunteering, grandbabies, something that pulls you out of bed with intention. Without purpose, the days blur. And when days blur, life speeds up. The second mistake costs more than money. It costs relationships. Some of you spent your entire adult life saying, when I retire, I'll finally focus on my marriage. Let me tell you what really happens. You suddenly spend 24 hours a day with someone you barely made time for. I have seen couples who survived 40 years of busy schedules fall apart in 3 years of retirement. Why? Because work was their buffer, their distraction, their escape. When my husband James retired, he walked into my kitchen on Monday morning and said, "So, what do we do now?" I smiled, but inside I realized something. We had not practiced being together without the noise of work. We had to relearn each other. Retirement exposes the cracks you ignored. If you do not invest in your relationship before retirement, do not expect retirement to fix it. You have to talk, walk together, laugh again, date again, forgive old hurts, build shared routines. Because if you don't, loneliness can exist even when someone is sitting right beside you. And loneliness at 70 feels different than loneliness at 30. It's heavier. The third mistake I see is the obsession with staying busy instead of staying alive. There is a difference. Some retirees fill their calendars just to avoid silence. Committees, meetings, clubs, babysitting every single day. Busy is not the same as fulfilled. I had a season where I said yes to everything: church events, community boards, babysitting every weekend. One night, I looked in the mirror and realized I was exhausted again, just like when I was working. Retirement is not meant to be another full-time job. It is meant to be intentional. Choose what gives you energy. Let go of what drains you. Time becomes more precious when you can see the horizon. At 98, I do not waste a morning doing something that makes my spirit tired. The fourth mistake is holding on to youth so tightly that you miss the beauty of aging. Some of you are fighting your age like it's an enemy. You talk about your wrinkles like they are failures, your slower pace like it's shameful. Let me tell you something honest. There is dignity in aging. There is power in walking into a room knowing you survived things others couldn't. When I was 70, I dyed my hair jet black because I thought gray meant invisible. At 80, I let it grow silver. At 90, I realized silver is not invisibility. It is authority. Stop apologizing for being older. You earned every year. Instead of chasing youth, chase vitality. Eat well. Walk daily. Lift light weights. Stretch. Laugh. Your body may not move like it did at 40, that's fine, but it still deserves respect. The fifth mistake is financial fear controlling your joy. Now listen carefully. I grew up in a time when money was scarce for people who looked like me. I understand fear. I understand survival. But I have seen retirees with enough savings live like they are one step from disaster. They refuse to travel, refuse to enjoy dinner out, refuse to help a grandchild with college, refuse small pleasures. They are saving for a future they may never see. Money is security, but money is also a tool. When James and I were 75, we almost didn't take a trip to Savannah. We said it was too expensive. I am so glad we went. That was our last big trip together before his health declined. If we had chosen fear over experience, I would have lost that memory forever. Be wise with money. Yes, but do not let fear steal your present. The sixth mistake breaks my heart the most. Withdrawing from the younger generations. Some seniors say, "This world is not for me anymore." Oh, yes, it is. Your wisdom is needed more now than ever. I mentor 3 young women at my church. They call me Miss Lilian. They ask about marriage, about courage, about mistakes. Every time I sit with them, I feel alive. Do not retreat into isolation. Share your stories. Tell your grandchildren about the first time you voted, the first job you had, the struggles you overcame. Your life is not background noise. It is a blueprint. And when you share it, you feel your relevance again. The 7th mistake is waiting. waiting to start painting, waiting to forgive your brother, waiting to write the memoir, waiting to say, I love you. I buried my sister without ever resolving an argument we had about something so small I can't even remember it now. Pride is a foolish companion in old age. Do not wait. If there is something on your heart, do it now. At 85, I joined a beginner art class. I was the oldest in the room by decades. I felt foolish the first day. Now I have a small stack of paintings in my living room. They are not masterpieces, but they are proof I kept living. Retirement is not the end of growth. It is freedom to grow differently. Let me tell you something deeply personal. At 92, I sat in my bedroom one night and thought, is this it? Am I just waiting now? That thought scared me more than death, so I made a decision. Every year I am alive, I will add something new to my life, a new recipe, a new book genre, a new friend, a new skill. At 95, I learned how to use video calls. At 97, I started speaking to small groups of seniors about joy. You are not done. Not at 60, not at 70, not at 80. Happiness in retirement is not automatic. It is built, brick by brick. Purpose, relationships, health, courage, generosity, wisdom, action. I sit here at 98 with aching knees and slower steps. But I do not sit here with regret, because I chose to stay engaged. I chose to love loudly. I chose to forgive quickly. I chose to use my time instead of watching it slip. If you are retired now, ask yourself one honest question. Am I living, or am I just existing? If you are approaching retirement, prepare your heart, not just your bank account. Plan for purpose, plan for connection, plan for growth, because one day you will be 98 and you will sit in a quiet room looking back, and the only thing that will matter is not how long you lived, but how fully. I am Lilian. I have seen nearly a century, and I am telling you with all the love in my bones, retirement does not steal happiness. Drifting does. So do not drift. Wake up tomorrow with intention. Call someone. Start something. Forgive someone. Move your body. Share your story. Live. Because if a 98-year-old woman can still choose joy, so can you.